the time being 7:01, all members of the planning board being present, call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from March 23rd, 2026.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from March 23rd, 2026.
I have a motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. That moves us to agenda item B1, committee reports. Any committee reports any of the members wish to make at this time?
All set, Mr. Chairman, on my end.
All set? All right. Moving on to B2, town planners report. Ms. Lauder?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two new filings for the May 11th meeting, one for 885 Main Street for a use special permit and 600 Woburn Street for a site plan review and special permit. Next item of note, the annual Town Cleanup Day hosted by the Beautification and Open Space Committees will be held this upcoming Saturday, May 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Folks interested in participating can stop by the DPW at 999 Whipple Road to pick up cleanup bags and drop off what they have collected later in the day. Families, corporate teams, and those seeking community service hours are encouraged to participate, and they can get more information on the town website. And last item of note, annual town meeting is scheduled for next week, Monday, May 4th at 7:30 p.m. and following on Wednesday, May 6th, also at 7:30 p.m. with special town meeting at 7 and the continuation of annual at 7:30, all taking place at Tewksbury Memorial High School, which is 320 Pleasant Street. The Finance Committee is holding its public hearing in the other room, so if this isn't quite your fancy, you'd rather learn about the warrant, you can head down the hall, but otherwise, we'll see you folks on May 4th and 6th. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to agenda B3, board reorganization.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a nomination. I'd like to nominate yourself, Steve Johnson, to stay in the chair position.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
All right. A motion and a second. Any other nominations? All right, we'll close the nomination for chair. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of information, I wanted to congratulate you and Mr. Champer on stepping up and running again for the planning board. I know you were unopposed, but just the fact that you stepped up and decided to run for the planning board is a great thing. It keeps consistency on the boards, and it's nice to have a good working relationship with the both of you and on this board, and unlike some other boards in town. So I like to, again, congratulate you guys for stepping up and doing another 3-year term.
All right, well, thank you. All right, we'll take nominations for vice chair now.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Mr. Fatalia.
All right, I have a motion for Mr. Vitale. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other nominations? Nominations closed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. And now nominations for clerk.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Jonathan Champer, as he's a newly elected member again for the position.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a
Second
second?
that.
Motion and a second. Any other nominations? Seeing none, closing the nominations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, that takes care of reorganization. Now we have committee designations. What do we have? We have 3, right?
Correct.
All right. We'll go one more meeting before we finalize it, because I'm just going to ask if anybody has any interest in doing the economic development one. I just feel I'm going to be a little busy going forward, and if someone else wants to take it over, I'm happy to step aside and let someone do so. So you guys want to think about that between now and the next meeting. Those who are already on committees, if you're okay with staying, that's fine. We'll do that next time as well. If you're not, then you can let the group know as well. But I just let everybody kind of think about that if they could.
Okay?
All right, and we'll do that at our next meeting. All right, that moves us to agenda item C, 40 Judith Drive, Family Suite Special Permit. Do I have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
A motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Do we have anybody here for 40 Judith Drive? You guys just come up to the table here.
Coming by yourself? With those 2 guys in the back? Come on up here. You can come up. You can join her.
Excuse me, if you folks would just turn the mics on.
Yeah, just pull them down towards you, and then just make sure the green lights are on.
Perfect.
And then if you just give your names to the record, the floor will be yours.
Shannon O'Neill.
Mike Grover.
All right? Just let us know what you're doing.
putting an addition on my parents' house. I have an only child, gonna have to take care of them in their old age at some point, so I'll take over the main house when they want to downsize, and for the time being, I'll be in the addition.
All right, very good. All right, we'll start with Mr. Champa.
I looked over the plans. Looks like a nice integrated layout. So appreciate what you're doing. Hopefully it works out for the family. And other than that, I have no other comments.
All right, Mr. Fuchsia.
I agree with Mr. Champa. Everything looks good to me.
Mr. Fratelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I reviewed the plans. The plans look great. How many square feet in the family suite?
1,000?
1,000, okay. And I always ask, is it attached to sewer?
Yes, it will be.
It will be, but not yet, so you know that's a requirement, okay?
Yep.
So, again, the plans look great. It's always nice to see a family thinking ahead. I'm at that stage now, getting to the older years, but, looking for planning for their health and well-being is always nice, and congratulate you on doing that, so, but I'm all set.
All right, Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so that little walkway going to the back there, is that included in the square footage? There's like a little, kind of the hallway almost? No?
Yes, everything is included in the 1,000 square feet.
Okay. Is that normally included in the square footage? Because I came up with something less than 1,000 when I looked at
does
it
come
today.
out to like slightly less.
Yeah.
It's like 990
Okay.
something.
No, that's okay. That's just a curiosity,
965.
really. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yep.
I'm going to say that everything looks pretty good to me, and I have no problems with the design, Mr. Chairman.
The chair is satisfied as well. Anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to close the public hearing.
A motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. As to the family suite special permit.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the family suite special permit at 40 Judith E. Drive.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, that brings us to agenda item D, 1541 Astle Street. This is continued from our 3:23 meeting. Gentlemen, once you're settled, if you give your names for the record, the floor will be yours.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, David Plunkett, represent the applicant before the board tonight.
Matt Hammer, engineering consultant with Lamplex LLC, 60 Fletcher Street, Lowell, Mass.
Floor is yours, gentlemen.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to ask Mr. Hammer to just go over any of the final revisions that have occurred and have been submitted to the board, just so, it's out there in terms of what has been done. But bottom line is that, we've addressed all questions and points of concern, and at this point, we have basically a sign-off, no further action taken relative to all comments that have been made up to this point in time. So I just asked Mr. Hammer to review some of those final changes.
Good evening. I have a red line copy from Mr. Duffy.
I saw it.
So I have a copy of the rendering in a reduced size, if that's helpful to anyone.
Is that different than anything we already have in the package?
It's just a colored version of the site plan.
Oh, sure. The
I'll take it.
color is
Sure.
nice.
I have that. I believe. No, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I got two.
Thanks.
So since the last time we were before the board, we were addressing some final
Is that
comments.
mic on, Mr. Hammer?
The green light's on.
Oh,
Hello?
Yeah, I think that's got it.
okay.
So the last time we were here, we had a couple comments from Mr. Campa related to some parking within the parking garages. We made those adjustments to remove the end parking spaces in the garages per Mr. Campa's request. We also made some changes, very minor changes to the handicap ramp specific to the peer consultant's review comments. Typically, some of those issues get worked out in the construction drawings when we get the final building plans, and we have to look at every fine detail. But that did get addressed in those comments. And the peer review consultant has determined that there's no more comments on their end related to the outstanding comments from the last session. Early last week, we got a comment from the fire department. And the fire department had some concerns about the grades. So we had a back and forth with the fire department, and essentially, we reconfigured the emergency exit and entrance from Astle Street to satisfy the fire department's concerns. So we had two submissions back to the fire department, and this entrance got altered slightly. The fire department also asked for some additional turning radius analysis. The fire truck that we were using initially had a greater radius from the fire truck that they now had us analyze. So the radius actually got a little smaller, but they wanted those plans updated showing the modification in the town of Tewksbury's fire truck apparatus. So we updated the turning radius analysis. We also provided a separate plan to show the grading changes as you come in the entrances, so that was more clear in a red line fashion to help clarify that issue. We submitted those auto turn swept path analysis to the fire department and received approval from the fire department, I believe, last Thursday in that regard. And those are the only changes to the plan since we've been here before.
Anything else?
If you want to ask any questions relative to the presentation at that point?
The one,
I have one more.
Yep.
Sorry. One additional comment from Mr. Campa was that we had a light towards the end of the sidewalk area, which is shown right here. Mr. Campa? In a radius showing the extents of the lumens from that light fixture. And with the changes that we were doing with the fire department, we also got that over to the lighting manufacturer who's been doing the foot candle contouring maps for this project. And we received those today. And that just shows that the site meets the requirements for the light spillage to not go off the property.
Okay.
Just to follow up with that lighting plan.
Very
So,
good.
Thank you.
Ms. Lauder, after going through this voluminous list of paperwork that we got in for this one, of back and forth, I think he's correct as well, but just to check with you, everything has been checked off?
Everything related to the latest submissions has been reviewed by the peer review consultant and the fire department, and the comments regarding the access are closed. However, there are still comments that the board, some of them, it's listed in my memo from March 16th, that the board either has to make a discretionary call
Right.
or insist that the item be resolved.
Right. But as far as outstanding items that just have to be dealt with before the departments are even all set, those have been resolved. It's up to us with anything that's left.
Correct.
Okay. And then where your package is here. All right. We'll start with Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hammer, can we just kind of walk through the outstanding items, waivers, and conditions from the town from dated March 23rd?
This is the,
Because I'm not sure if I have really heard any response to any of these comments here, the tech comments.
yeah, the only waiver that's being requested is regarding the waiver from the, I believe it's 400-foot dead end, so to speak. And the justification for that is that we have basically followed the feedback from the board and the residents relative to limiting access onto Astor Street. So as a result of limiting the access on Astor Street, that we're confined within the site with the access from Main Street, and therefore that would be the justification and the only waiver requested for
Say
the
that
site.
again, if you don't mind.
So the need to have a waiver from the 400-foot dead end requirement is because of the fact that we do not have a access. There's an emergency access, but that's limited.
Maybe you could just point out which comment are we talking about there on that March 23rd?
March 23rd, we have March
The
6th.
letter is actually dated March 16th.
Okay.
March 16th.
Sorry about that.
Actually, I don't think that there's actually any reference to that, but it is the only waiver that we're requesting, in terms of,
So it's part of your.
Okay, why don't I ask you the question, and then maybe we can do it that way. And I'm going to skip number 1 for now, but let's go to number 2. So we were talking about sidewalks along Astor Street. Have you had conversation with DPW regarding the sidewalks along Astor Street?
Oh, no, we have not.
Okay,
We,
well,
The-
that we don't grant that waiver. If there is going to be a waiver for the sidewalk along Astor Street, that would be the DPW. You're aware of that, right?
right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's still kind of up in the air then, basically.
We're bringing a sidewalk to our primary entrance for the pedestrians, which is on Main Street.
yeah. This
Would you
is
say?
referencing,
Do you want to get back to us on that?
Our waivers are specifically to the parking lot with the planning board. Our project has a sidewalk going down to Main Street, which is our primary entrance.
No, I understand that, but I'm talking about a sidewalk, it's required along
If
Astor
we need,
Street
if
as
we
well.
need something from the Department of Public Works, then we'll have to go and get that
Yeah, I mean, right there, it says sidewalks are required along all public ways to which the site abuts and must be connected to the sidewalks and pedestrian aisles within the site.
So I guess the bottom line is, the question I think Mr. Devy's asking is, you're either going to install the sidewalks or seek the waiver from DPW. You're doing one of those two things.
Yes.
Okay. They're not shown here because you haven't decided which of those two things you're doing. Is that it?
Correct. Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then let's think about that, getting an answer back on that one, and let's go to number 3, which talks about snow storage. 5,000 square feet per 100 spaces is required. Do you have any idea how, I see a lot of hash marks there on the plan for snow storage. Do you have any idea?
That calculation is on the plan, and we do not need a waiver for that.
Okay. Where on the plan? It's on this plan right here?
Actually, it may be. This is a plan just for you that shows some red line revisions, okay? There's a full
Sure.
plan set.
Yeah.
But that calculation is right here.
Oh, okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so that basically what you're saying is that exceeds the requirement by about 550 square feet there?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Has there been any update on the construction details on the retaining walls, Mr. Hammer?
There is not. Those details commonly would be done before construction and submitted to the building department for review on those for the whole construction of the retaining wall, which would be stamped structural drawings with a specific type of wall with the weep holes necessary for the full design for that.
Yeah, because I know there's there's different requirements when you're building on a slope, right? And that are going to feed into the structural requirements of that.
Yeah,
of that
absolutely.
wall, I would
Yep.
think. right?
Different requirements for different types of walls.
So the text comment is to refer to the board. So, but you're saying that's something that needs to be worked out with the applicant and the building department? Is that what?
That's correct. Any wall over 4 feet in height is required to have a structural stamp wall and design submitted to the building department prior to construction.
Okay. I'm going to skip over number 6. And I'm going to skip over number 7 because it's more or less what we just discussed as far as the retaining wall requirements.
Yeah, number 6 is a requirement that's not a requirement. They're asking for,
Something that is yet to be,
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just not a requirement.
okay,
So-
got it. And what about text concern about the monitoring wells, number 8 there?
That's an interesting comment. They're not required for these drainage systems. It's a monitoring well to determine whether the drainage is drawing down over 72 hours of time frame. That's not how these are designed, and it's just not a requirement.
But it also talks about emergency dewatering.
Yeah, I mean, we can put a pipe in the basin if necessary, to put a pump down there if necessary, but it shouldn't be a requirement for this type of drainage system.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Fratelli.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. So I'm looking at your notes. You revised the emergency access drive. What, did you move it down closer towards Pike Street?
No, we moved it up.
Up,
Yeah,
farther up?
yep.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Plunkett, you mentioned that you're limiting the access to Astor Street, right? Are you planning on using Astor Street for construction purposes?
We can.
Yeah.
We can if we need to.
Okay, but I thought we were limiting access to Astor Street.
But that's after the project's
For the
completed.
development.
So you'll be using it with construction vehicles? That's your plan?
Yeah, if we need to.
Okay. Do we have to, or that's just a convenience thing? I'm more concerned about the residents and the trucks and so forth going up and down Astor for the
Well,
project.
if a truck has to go down Astor, it would be better for them to go out onto Astor through that construction entrance that would be formed there than to go down to the intersection and then to drive up the hill, if you want to relieve congestion potentially down at the intersection.
Okay.
And vice
Couple of
versa.
Comments?
And vice versa, Mr. Fratelli, if you're,
Pardon?
and vice versa, if you're coming through, down Astor Street, it'd be better for you to swing into the site than to go down to the intersection and then come in.
I would rather see you not use Astor Street at all, if you can help it, for the concerns of the residents who have been coming to these meetings saying it's a bad street as it is, and I know it is, because I travel it all the time.
I'm just saying the truck is going to be on Astor Street regardless of whether the entrance is off to Astor Street or whether they have to go down to the intersection and then up Astor Street.
Okay? So, again, I had a conversation with the fire department prior to you, I guess, finalizing details, and they had not approved the site, which was my question at the time, until you guys finally resolved it this past week.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't submit comments back in March of last year when we submitted the entire project.
Yeah.
So
Question, and
they've had multiple submissions sent to them.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, why did it take so long to get the final? I mean,
You would have to ask the fire department.
nothing that you didn't do or not?
No, the funnel goes through the planning department, through Ms. Lauder. She distributes presumably all the plans to all the departments, and they're supposed to reciprocate with comments.
Okay. So my concern is it took this long until this week, when we've been sitting in front of meetings and so forth for probably about a year or so, I think, you know? I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I look as a planning board member, to making sure the fire department is okay with access in and out and the auto turn as well, you know, so, but I just found it hard to believe that it took this long for you and them to finalize things and be okay with it. So, well,
I can't control what the fire department does, so
well, you would think you would work together. If you don't have their approval, then you would think you would want to get that.
there was preliminary discussions with the fire department, and it was my understanding that they had generated correspondence to the effect that they were approving the project. Now, that was through my client talking to the fire department. And then all of a sudden, last week, or the week before last, we received formal comments from the fire department. How that was the case, I do not know.
It might have been my phone call to them, because I was questioning the same thing. Well, I don't see any approval here from you guys on this project. He says, well, we haven't approved it yet, so, but it is done now.
Yep.
All right. And that's what I read today with their notes saying that they were,
Yep.
appears to be in compliance, so. So now, just as a final thing here, so the buildings that you're planning to put on the site, 138 feet high by 62 feet wide, is that accurate? That's what that's the plans show that.
138 feet high is not the case.
I have
This one?
Isn't that what it says here? 138 by 62.4 inches?
That's the width and the length of the building.
Okay,
Come with this
Yeah.
and this,
okay.
not this.
So not the height. Do you know what
No.
the height is going to be?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Oh, I see, that's the length and width, okay.
Missing something. So if you look to, if you look to the left on the layout sheet,
Okay.
you'll see,
221, is that what it is?
what's that?
Building 1 is 221 feet? Is that-
No, it is not. So there's a building height calculation here, okay? You see
Yeah.
that? Okay. And if you look down, there's 3 different building heights for 3 different buildings.
Okay.
The entire calculation is here with a resultant, which is equals the height, and it's 53.4, 52.5,
Oh, I got
and
you.
53.3.
Yeah, all right. Okay, with that, I'm all set, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, the fire department being the ultimate authority, I would, I guess, eventually defer to them. But I had some confusion as far as on the one hand, the fire department requirement references a 10% grade, not to exceed. But then there's multiple references to not to exceed 1 foot of elevation over 20 foot of travel. So the 10%, I think, is pretty close. I mean, I measured it out. I don't know if they also measured it out. Again, I would typically defer to them. But if it's the 1 to 20, then, that entire front driveway coming down to Main Street, you've got about, about 12 and a half feet for every 2 feet of drop in some of the steeper areas. And it's not an even grade all the way down. And again, it's probably due to the site. But I was just curious, what's your understanding on that? What governs?
So we did a very detailed, we'll call it blown-up version of the entrances. And Mr. Sawicki and myself were able to use that plan to go through and detail the grades on that plan, for which he was satisfied that it met the regulations.
Okay, so that plan had different grades than what's on the actual grading plan?
Not on the entrance. It was on the emergency egress and entrance. So the emergency egress and entrance, we did not anticipate that needed to have strict compliance to what a main entrance would be, because it was a very short section. And to be used primarily when the vehicle leaves the site. They would never go up there to come in that way. They would go exit out of that site, according to Mr. Sawicki when I had a conversation with him. So
Just run that, I'm sorry, that was just trying to catch up there. So the Assel Street access, they would use that for entry to the site or egress from the site?
egress from the site.
Okay, so they would come in on 38 and go up the ramp into the site?
So listen, the fire department can come in and out of the site any way they want, whether it's out of the emergency entrance or from Main Street. We revised the entrance off of Astle to be in full compliance as if they're coming in and out of Astle whenever they want. That's why we made a change to the entrance off of Astle Street, so that there was no deviation from strict adherence to their regulations. And that's why we went back and forth twice with the fire department.
Okay. Again, it just, obviously, it was a little confusing to me, the conflicting information.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to get my head around that. Because, again, seeing 2 different references, 10% grade versus 1 foot over 20, 1 foot over 20 is a 5% grade.
Yeah, it's the transition to the 10%.
Okay.
I wouldn't let us get too, only because the fire department at the end goes out and does these. If they don't like it, they're going to make them change it. You know what I mean? If it does, us approving it doesn't make it the final say. If the fire department goes out and they got a problem, they're going to make them change it, whether it's turn radius, if they didn't build it right and they don't have the room to get around, they're going to make them change something. So it's ultimately up to them at the end in the field. It's one of the reasons why we don't get the most definitive answer from them when we get those letters. It's because they're leaving themselves the final decision in field, post-construction, to make sure that it actually can be done the way it's saying it could be done on paper. Because if they're beholden only to the paper and it doesn't work in the field, that'd be useless to them, because they got to be able to do it in real life. So they'll go out, and if something's wrong, they're going to make them fix it.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, because when we get comments from, no matter what the department is, okay, in some degrees, it's a generalization of what they require. At the end of the day, the site has to be in full compliance with all the regulations, building codes, fire codes, you name it. And they put in their letter, specifically the fire department, that they have the right reserved to run their vehicle through the site to see if it's satisfactory to them at that point. And that's after the site's built.
Sorry, keep going.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The other thing I wanted to bring up is TEC letter, where's the item? It's a reference to the sidewalks, TEC 41326. It talks about the two 12-foot plus or minus long ramp runs, designed at exactly 8.3% slope, technically compliant, but no tolerance for construction error. And the land flex comment to that was, there will be many aspects of design which will need to be constructed with finite detail, and an as-built plan will be provided. I just wanted to point out that I recall at Grammy's Way, they had sidewalks that were off by, I don't know, it might have been less than an inch, and had to be, the parts that were not compliant had to be redone. Considering the amount of slope you have and how much is going on here, are you sure you're comfortable with trying to get something to that level of tolerance on a site with those sidewalks?
That's why it's engineering. Everything has to comply to the exact amount. There's probably 50 different things that comply to the exact amount on this project. And it's up to the site contractor to do the job per the plans and to all the codes in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, whether Landplex is around or not. That all has to be done. And it has to be represented on an as-built, and it has to be built in conformance with the ADA requirements in the end. There will be specific areas of this site which will not look like this plan if there needs to be a fine, minor change to the plans depending on the final construction drawings and whether regulations change potentially with building codes. So there are small, minor things that do get adjusted at times, but this plan does take into account that this plan can be constructed today for that handicap ramp going in and out of the site.
That's all I have for today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Fuchsia.
I don't have anything at this moment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask one
Yeah.
more quick question? I'll make a point based on Mr. Champa's observations here. When we talk about as-built on the plan, we've had a couple of issues in the past, not with you guys, but I just happen to be glancing at the landscape plan. And when you do your as-built for your underground drainage, mechanicals, and so on and so forth, I would suggest that you do an overlay with your landscape plan to make sure that landscaping doesn't need to be eliminated because you can't plant it there because there is an underground utility or whatever that impacts that.
And Mr. Duffy, if there is a change related to a underground mechanical thing, let's say it's electrical or a sprinkler line or whatever it is, That change would go through the planning department.
Completely understand that, completely understand that. I'm
Okay.
just saying that I would ask that you do your best, because I think that the tree lines, the landscape plan, in my opinion, looks pretty good. And I think that the landscape, you know, if we get to that point, I think the landscape plan does a lot to sort of tone down the buildings a little bit.
Absolutely, and as that landscaping matures, it enhances over time.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, it just might take a little bit of work while the underground stuff is going in, to be very accurate with the underground, with the as-built, basically.
yeah, and there's ways of the piping to withstand root growth, in the effect that there's root growth around underground utility lines. So, yeah,
Sounds like we're on the same page here.
good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, so just a couple from me. You've seen Ms. Lauder's letter, right?
Yeah.
All right, you guys have any issues with the conditions that she had listed on there?
Just to make sure, Mr. Chairman, what date?
This is 316.
These right here.
Okay.
Mine's blue. Or at least it starts off blue.
Well, we have the traffic monitoring program and the traffic transportation demand management.
Which we agreed with Durex.
Okay.
I didn't hear, did you say something?
We have no.
So if any or all those are included, then no issues,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just the only other one, and I don't think the first one necessarily applies, but I'll check with you guys, but up at the top, the other two waivers that she referenced, this is not a site that's going to have those type of deliveries, right, that are listed in the first one?
No, there's,
So no need for that
no,
request
it's
that
just
way, correct?
your typical,
I would think so too, I'm just asking you.
UPS,
If not, then you
FedEx.
have to, you know what I
No,
mean?
it's-
So
We don't have a function hall that would,
same thing on the master signage plan, I'm taking it that there isn't, you're not asking for that to waive, so if you're going to put up signage, you got to come in.
yeah.
Ms. Lott, is there anything else that you've thought of since this letter that you want us to be aware of?
Considering the discussions that were had regarding comment number 2 and comment number 7 from the beginning part of the letter, so speaking with DPW or making the decision to construct the sidewalks on Astle Street, and then for number 7 regarding the retaining wall, this is just a consideration for the board, to consider adding a condition that if changes to the plans are considered material once the specifications for the retaining wall are submitted, that they may be referred back to this board for
Okay, that's
consideration.
fine. Yeah, I mean, if it's not a problem, that's not a
Yeah.
problem, you don't have to come back, so.
Oh, any material change would be,
Yeah, but just this way it's in there and there's no arguing because we all may not be here, and then, you know what I mean, then it's not a question, so, all right. Okay, all right, with that, I'll open up the audience. Anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, or concerns at this time?
Hi. Ralph Bliss, 249 Astle Street. First, I'll say congratulations on the election, because Precinct 1 came out in heavy support of you gentlemen that were up for reelection, and I think this project had a lot to do with it. Moving on.
Can you pull the
What
mic
is-
over just in front of you?
Sure.
so
What
pick
is
it
the
up?
current, you guys have had views toward updated plans. What is the current proposed use of Astle Street in this plan?
If you look at this, as I understand it, I don't want to speak for you guys, but if I'm wrong, say so.
Sounds like emergency only.
It's emergency only when the project is complete. There is emergency access on Astor Street, which could be in or out by an emergency vehicle. That's it. Am I correct?
That's correct.
And now the fire department must use that one entrance, get it unlocked?
No. That may have been a little bit of a confusing statement earlier. The fire department is free to enter that site wherever the fire department wants to enter that site. That could be through the Astor Street entrance, emergency entrance, or exit, or the front, on Main Street entrance or exit. They are free to do whatever they want. It's just no one from the public would be able to use the Astor Street entrance or exit, except an emergency vehicle.
including the residents of the proposed facility.
Are they driving an emergency vehicle?
One would hope not.
Okay, so
Okay. Okay. Hopefully, the fire department doesn't go back to using the original footprint vehicles, because it sounds like, with the exception of caliper drawings, they're real close to not being able to make the turns.
I leave that up to them, though, so.
Peace. Several times, this board, and thankfully in response to the residents, has asked for an elevation view of this project as viewed coming down Astle Street toward Main Street. Has that been provided yet? Because it sounds like we've still
We've
got,
gotten a bunch of, there's elevations in front of you. At this point, I think we've obtained as many elevations as we'll have viewed here in this,
do we have that one, please?
I don't know, is that one of the ones that's in there?
No, it is not, Chairman.
Yeah. It's
So we
been
don't have
asked for 3 or 4 times. That's what the residents are going to see.
Yep.
You're going to have about a 3 or 4-story building that you're staring at, obliterating the sun. Not a very pretty picture. You know where we stand.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else with any questions, comments, or concerns at this time? Just give your name and your address for the record, and the floor is yours. I'll have you
Jody?
pull the microphone down,
Oh,
I
thank
think.
you.
There you go.
Joni Spear, I'm 149 Pike Street, and my one comment, I have lots, but I'm not going to spend too much time, but is the impact of, on this on Pike Street, if you guys have considered that.
Are you asking if we've considered it?
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't speak for everybody, but I think over the course of the meetings that we've had many, many discussions about the impact of the project on all the roads around the project, and Pike would be included in that.
Okay, and I'm 100% against this project. Thank
Thank
you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Hi, I'm Rick Keene. I'm at 148 Pike Street. I live across the street from Joni. Again, like she had said, the impact on Pike Street is going to be terrible. It's a cut-through for everybody to come through. We've had several accidents there. You talked about putting sidewalks on Astle Street. What is the determination as to what to put sidewalks on Pike Street as well? Is that something that's considered? We don't have sidewalks there.
So the sidewalk requirement would be around the project itself.
Right, which
That's
is
where they're
Astor Street.
required.
Yes.
If for some reason, and I'm not saying it is what they would want, if for some reason DPW were to tell them, we don't want you to put the sidewalk here, we'd prefer you put the sidewalk there, and they want to do that, maybe, that might be fine, or there's a payment that can be made, and that might be what DPW chooses to do with the sidewalk payment it goes into the fund. But we have no role in that at this point. The project requires sidewalks. They either get built where they're supposed to get built, or there's a waiver granted by DPW at this point, not us.
Right.
Because DPW thinks that the money would be better spent elsewhere, or, sometimes there's sidewalks to nowhere, and they turn out to not be as useful as sidewalks elsewhere might be. So,
I mean, they'd be extremely useful on Pike Street because, like I said, it's a big cut through. The traffic there, like everybody comes from Billerica through there. This is going to impact us
as far
extremely.
as that, I would direct that to DPW to make them aware of your feelings about sidewalks on Pike. But
Yeah.
as far as this, we have no role in where, other than the fact that they're supposed to get built or a payment gets made to the sidewalk
Right.
fund. We have no role in that anymore.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Keene, before you leave.
Yeah.
I travel Pike Street regularly because I live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I tell my wife to not walk on Pike Street.
Yes.
Or Roger
Exactly.
Street, because both of them, there's no space for people walking and cars going by, so it is a problem.
Yeah, it's
And,
an extreme problem.
If it does come down to be, I mean, sidewalks would be great on Rogers Street from Pike up to
Right.
Whipple and on on Pike itself, so
Yeah. as
I'd be
you know,
all
there's
in
been
favor
several
of that.
accidents there.
Yeah.
It's-
Oh, yeah.
It's extremely dangerous. We have cut through, people coming through all the time, getting down to 38. We know that, we discussed the impact on 38 with this project, but it's really impactful on the rest of the streets as well. I know you have discussed that, but I have never heard Pike Street come up in the conversations.
Yeah, no plans, I think, at this point, but
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Going once? Twice? All right. Gentlemen, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, just as a recap, this has been a long process, and we've done everything and dealt with all the, comments, and I'm happy to say at this point in time, we now are in a position where every comment has been addressed, which I think is, speaks to the process, I suppose, that, it's been a number of issues brought up, and we've addressed it. And I think it's important in the sense that I know in the past, looking at, actions by the board, that sometimes you put in perspective of, what could happen there as opposed to what's proposed. I think that's very important, in terms of our position requesting this approval is based upon the fact that, this is for an MFD 55, residential, both our traffic consultant and the town's traffic consultant came to the same conclusion that would have minimal impact from the viewpoint of the traffic generator. And the fact that you look at it in terms of, what the intended use is, as everyone knows, Commonwealth of Massachusetts now, is for a couple of years been pushing to get more residential construction, more residential units to be constructed, and that has a major benefit for the Commonwealth, because one of our biggest issues is, in terms of cost of living, is failure to be able to produce housing. So this is something that addresses the issue relative to the fact that our proposal is for residential use. And taking into account also that even though under MFD 55, there's no requirement for an affordable housing component, the applicant has agreed after, again, feedback from the board, which, over this, I think it's actually 14 months, I think we started in February of 20, that there's, and that's a major plus for the town, that to be able to produce this type of, residential use and not have it negatively affect our affordable housing ratio by the voluntary proposal of the applicant to submit, 10% for that purpose. And again, looking to how the board has reviewed it previously, under the GB1 district, as with any zoning district, you always look at what's the permitted use of, what are permitted uses of right? Because in any zoning district, you have to have something that's an allowed by right use. And, looking at the chart on the GB1, one of the things we looked at, that there's a yes beside 15,000 square foot retail development. And, Mr. Hazavadian had done an analysis, in terms of, what the traffic impact would be for a commercial type use, and it's significantly higher than the use that we're proposing here today. And both, say, Mr. Hazavadi and Mr. Dirks have come to an agreement, are in agreement that it's a minimal, impact relative to the increased volume of the property. So you have a situation where our proposed use is significantly less than what could go there, which has often been used as a criteria in the past. It's a situation where providing, very much needed residential development in the town and in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We're providing 10%, or in this case, it would be 9 affordable housing units, for our affordable housing stock. That, we look at the proposal, and we think it's going to be a very, very nice, development. And, from our perspective, it's the perfect location for a development of this sort, that it's going to be utilized in this area, which at some point will be used, but it's going to be used in a manner that's meeting a number of needs of the town, minimum impact by traffic, and, again, we think that it's a very good proposal, and we would request that after, this period of time, and we're very happy with the feedback and the, input from the board, that, after this period of time, we feel that we've addressed every issue, and we would ask for the support of the board for this project.
Can you just cite me the waiver section? Just the one, right?
Yes.
You have it?
I have it, Mr. Johnson. 6.1.8C is for dead-end aisles, exceeding more than 5 parking spaces.
6.1.8C.
Correct.
Okay. And that's it, right? All right. All right, so then I would understand it that your presentation is complete.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, okay. Any other further comments from anyone on the board?
All set, Mr. Chairman.
All set, Mr. Chairman.
All set, Mr. Chairman.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we vote on the waiver.
We got to close the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
All right, I have a motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimous. I take the waiver first. So we have a waiver for 6.1.8C. Do we have a motion on the waiver?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, the 2 waivers that I had noted also require issuance because we do not plan to have loading areas or a master signage plan.
Oh, so we need the waivers because of it?
Correct.
Oh, they didn't have to ask for, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Well,
So actually, so
they're
we have 3.
necessary for the site.
All right, so we have 3, I'm sorry, then we have 3 waivers. So the
Right.
other 2 are actually 6.1.14 and 6.2.10H. So those were the 2 we discussed earlier. So there's 3 total. All right, so do we have a motion on the waivers? All right, I'll do this then. We'll make a motion to approve the waivers, the 3 requested. Is there a second?
I'll check on that.
All right, motion made and second. All those in favor of issuing the waivers, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to the waivers, say nay.
Nay.
Okay.
All right, the waivers are not approved. All right, as to the site plan review, land disturbance permit, and special permit, is there a motion? All right, I'll do it the same way.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, the conditions.
Oh, I'm sorry, do you include the conditions in it? You're right, I'm sorry, I skipped over that. The conditions as discussed this evening, numbering 1 through 14 on Ms. Lauder's 3/16/26 letter, with the additional, the one referencing the retaining walls for number 7 that we discussed as well. And then the decision on the sidewalks is they'll either be installed or a waiver will be sought.
Correct.
So that's, okay, so those are the conditions. So if you have a motion, so those are the conditions that will go along with the permits. So then, do we have a motion with those?
Mr. Chairman, just as a point of clarification, we're doing separate motions for the application for the development as well as the application for the land disturbance permit, is that correct?
You want me to do them separately?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with the site plan review. Do I have a motion on the site plan review? So we'll do it the same way I did it the last one. So make a motion to approve the site plan review. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. All those in favor of approving the site plan review, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Hey,
Motion does not pass. As to the land disturbance,
Chairman, what was the count on that? I
I'm
didn't
sorry,
see.
1 to 4.
1 to 4.
1 to 4.
I didn't hear any others.
For the land disturbance permit, I'll do it the same way. I'll make a motion to approve the land disturbance permit. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
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 Nay. 1 to 4. Special permit. I have a motion, I'll make a motion to approve the special permit. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
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 1 to 4 as well. I think that covers all three. All right, here we go. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll take a quick, maybe like 3-minute recess, just to let the room clear out of those who are here for just this and aren't here for the next matter. All right, bring us back into order. That brings us to Agenda Item E, which is 1325 Main Street. This is continued from our 4:13 meeting. If you guys would all introduce yourselves for the record, the floor will be yours.
I'm Mira Cousins with Civil Design Consultants.
Jim Hanley, Civil Design Consultants.
Arnie J. Martell, AJM Construction.
Okay,
Don Bornstein, attorney from Johnson and Bornstein.
all right. Do we have one more person? Is she gonna?
Yep.
was she-
Kylie Kelter with Civil Design Consultants.
All right. I think, for housekeeping purposes, Mr. Fratelli, just wanted to make
Yeah,
one
good evening.
disclosure.
I just wanted to disclose that Mr. Bornstein, who is representing the client here, I have used the firm, Johnson and Bornstein, in the past, in a case not in this town, but in another town. I have met Mr. Bornstein a couple of times, but his associate, Mr. Donnelly, was the gentleman that I have worked with extensively for my case, not in Tewksbury, so I think I'll be able to be impartial towards this application going forward. Just to declare that.
Okay. With that, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. So we're here for a special permit and site plan review for the proposed redevelopment project located at 1325 Main Street. So we initially opened the hearing on March 9th, where we presented the project, which includes 2 multifamily buildings, 7 units each for a total of 14 units, along with a commercial building located at the rear of the site. So since then, we've continued the past 2 meetings to address comments from the town staff as well as the peer reviewer TEC. In that time, we also received a zoning interpretation from the building commissioner, confirming that this project qualifies as a mixed-use development and only needs to comply with the mixed-use business zoning regulations. So Section 8.2, which is the multifamily development requirements, does not apply to this project. So that said, the applicant Arnie has chosen to retain certain elements that would have otherwise been required under Section 8.2, including the detached garage for the residential use and the additional parking. For context, Section 8.2 required 35 parking spaces, and we've provided 37. Under the MUB requirements, only 24 parking spaces are required for the residential use, but we've maintained that 37 spaces. So the plan exceeds that by 13 spaces. 2 weeks ago, we submitted the revised plans and supporting materials addressing all the review letters. We then received TEC's second peer review letter this past Thursday. At this point, there's a handful of remaining comments, all relatively minor, primarily related to additional drainage calculations and a few additional construction detail clarifications. Overall, the site layout remains largely consistent with what we previously presented. So I'll walk through the key updates we made to the layout plan. So number 1, what you see on the screen there, we added an additional sidewalk to create an accessible connection from the commercial building to Main Street. So that's what's highlighted over there. Number 2, we've added a wall and increased the number of plantings, especially along the northern property line, to improve screening for the abutting residential properties. Number 3, we've added a walkway between the 2 multifamily buildings. And lastly, we adjusted the pavement layout at the 90-degree turn, what's highlighted there, behind that commercial building to provide additional maneuvering space for emergency vehicles. I want to note that this last adjustment was made after the April 11th submittal, as it came out of a late comment from the fire department. We did meet with Captain Sawicki last week to walk through their concerns, and we updated this specific area. The fire department has reviewed this latest fire truck turning plan and issued a letter earlier today confirming that their concerns have been addressed. So going back to TEC's second review letter, there were 4 comments, items 3, 7, 45, 59, that were deferred to the board. Wanted to know whether the board reviewed those comments, and if you'd like us to speak to any of them.
If you want to, it's up to you.
Okay, and then lastly, we included a waiver request letter as part of the revised submittal, which includes 3 waivers. I'm happy to also walk through those waivers if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't you walk through the waivers just so everybody knows what they are?
Sure. All right, so waiver number 1 is 6.1.10.b. That's the driveway separation from a street intersection. So the applicant requests a waiver to allow the proposed site access driveway to be located within 50 feet of a street intersection, which is Patrick Road, across the street. It's unclear whether we needed a waiver for this. We asked for it anyways. The proposed driveway has been intentionally aligned as closely with Patrick Road in order to promote safe traffic operations. So this was provided from our traffic engineer. So as designed, the exiting lanes for the site driveway and Patrick Road are aligned such that the left turn movements do not conflict. In fact, this is consistent with DOT, what they require, and I provided an excerpt from the access management manual that provides additional information on aligning a driveway across from each other. Waiver number 2 has to do with the master signage plan. The applicant requests a waiver for this requirement to submit a master signage plan. The applicant intends to provide full signage complying with the zoning bylaw requirement. And lastly, waiver for section 6.1.8.c, and that's parking on a dead-end aisle. So we're requesting this waiver to allow more than 5 parking spaces to be served by a dead-end drive aisle. The proposed parking layout includes a dead-end drive aisle extending west of the multifamily building, which provides access to 14 garage parking spaces serving the residential units. This aisle is intended solely to access private garage spaces associated with the residential units and does not function as a primary circulation route for general traffic. Those are the 3 waivers.
Okay. All right, we'll start with Mr. Champ.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry. Just going to get the plans back up on my screen here so I can zoom in on things. So I didn't see the dead-end aisle dimension. What's the width of that aisle between the, I don't know if it's a curb and the front of the garages?
24 feet.
Okay, so that's normal drive aisle
Correct.
width.
Yes.
So even if those weren't garages, if they were parking spaces, more than enough room to get in and out, but should be more so where they are garages. Is there a garage space at the very end of that on the left side?
Yes.
Yes. Want to scroll over.
Okay, so assuming that person can only pull in nose first, are they going to have sufficient room to back out and then turn to the right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and just to go through my recollection, are you still waiting to go before, just because the dating, are you still waiting to go before Conservation Commission?
Correct. We're going to the next meeting. I believe it's in 2 weeks.
May 13th.
Yes.
Okay.
We opened the hearing already, and we continued to make sure we addressed planning board comments before we go back.
Understood. Okay. And as far as the 2 driveways, or this driveway being across from Patrick Road, I agree. I think, the driveway that was there before was probably less safe. This would be more safe and more in line with what Mass DOT is looking for. So I see the logic that you have there. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Fuchsia?
I don't have anything right now, Mr. Johnson.
So I'll go next, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of comments I have. So the access to the garages in the rear, that's a one-way road going down?
Correct. One-way circulation.
Okay, so they have to go and around and come back out?
Yep, towards the right,
Okay.
go around.
So
come out.
one of my concerns was that first garage as you go down, I don't see him going left to get out. Even though you may have a one-way sign there, okay, the garage on the last, one on the right. So the first one as you make the corner to go back in the rear. His closest exit point would be the road right there to come out.
Which, if you don't mind, I just want to understand the exact location that you're,
So the gentleman coming in, going down to the one-way, when he gets to the first garage, that's his,
yeah,
all right?
Yeah.
Okay. When he leaves, he has to go by 6 more garages, take a left, and come back out, right? I don't know if he'd do that because it's a long way around, but, I mean, you have a one-way sign there, but if he abides by it, great. If
Yeah.
not, I mean, the shortest exit for him is to take a right up the one-way and out towards Main Street. So I don't.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
there no way of making that two ways? I mean, does it have to be one way? Not wide enough?
So there's a couple of things going on there. The first thing I think is, you know, like, if you're coming out of that first garage, to try to take that, you need to go 180 degrees.
Yeah.
I think that would be tight, and, you know, these are going to be not probably passenger cars, they'll probably be bigger vans and.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Right, so I think that turns, is not easy, so I think that persuades it. And then the other thing is, we do have limitations to what we can do within the aquifer protection. So we have these two 20-foot wide lanes, which meet the fire department requirements.
Okay.
But if we went to 24, we'd be putting more pavement down in a groundwater protection area, which we try to avoid.
Okay. Just a concern. I seen the one-way, and I'm like, well, if I'm renting that garage, I may not be taking that left all the way around the buildings to get out, but just easiest way to exit would be right, but I mean, hey.
As an example, I have a garage at Boxcar Boulevard. Now, that is even a lot longer to go. That's a one-way all the way around that building.
Okay.
That building's probably 4 times as long as this one.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way. I'm one of the first bays. The owner's down there, especially one of them who's a stickler, and that's why it's nice and clean down there.
Yeah.
If he catches you, he has cameras, if he will find you.
Okay.
So I know it's hard to say that, you know, planning board, you know, I know it's not something you could put in the approvals, but if it's patrolled by the owner, who I fully plan on being, it would be in their best interest to follow the rules.
Yeah, I'm sure if you see it happen, you'll make note of it and make sure they're aware of it, so.
Like I said, just an example,
Yeah.
and, you know, but it has to be patrolled by either the owners or owner.
Okay. So I just wanted to commend you guys. I see there were 65 comments of concern, and I believe you answered 60 plus, and which were resolved, which makes our job a lot easier. So I wanted to commend you for doing that. I mean, it's a lot easier when you come in and everything has been approved for the most part. So we don't have, we've only a couple outstanding issues, which I'm sure you'll get resolved. So with that, I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, and, yeah, I'll acknowledge that, too. I was just looking at that, so you guys just have the Conservation Commission and a couple of DOT issues to work out. And if you don't mind, just show me where, on the waiver of the 5 additional parking spaces that you're looking for there. Like, where are those?
You mean the dead-end aisle?
Yeah, yeah.
It's the garage spaces, so that's considered a dead-end aisle. So we have 14 garage spaces, so that's what we're asking for a waiver. It exceeds 5 parking spaces on a dead-end aisle.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have a problem with either of the, or any of the 3 waivers, and I appreciate that you're addressing all the text comments there, and I'm really kind of all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. I mean, as far as the one-way access, what we can do is we could put in the conditions that your HOA and/or lease agreements would include a clause for fining, whether it be the commercial or the residential. I doubt they're going to do it because I don't know why they'd be back there, but that you include a fining system in there. Obviously, we're not going to monitor the fining system or anything like that, but we can do that to, you know, if we feel the need to just, you know, cover it to make sure that that will be addressed so that there is a discouragement for someone to do what Mr. Fratalia discussed. So we could do that. We'll see what everybody wants to do. I throw it out there. I'm with everybody else, you know, most of the stuff's done. Obviously, there's a few things outstanding. You still got to go to conservation and make sure you're going to be fine there as well. But I don't have any additional comments beyond what's been discussed here. I mean, the biggest one was making sure that this was going to be mixed use versus, that was going to make a huge difference on what was going on here. So with that resolved and the building inspector on board with that resolution, that makes that a little bit simpler. All right. With that, I'll open it up to the audience. Anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, or concerns? Once you get up there, if you just give your name and your address, the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Missy Carroll. I am at 1319 Main Street. I am the corner at the very top that abuts the proposed buildings. My concern, and I stated this the last time I was here, is where the driveway is. I understand that putting it across from Patrick is what you guys are aiming to do, but it is extremely close to my driveway. And getting in and out of my driveway will become near impossible with this, the way it's laid out. I guess my first question is, first off, is how close is this to my driveway? What's the feet?
I mean, we can estimate.
This is
That's
10,
20, right here, that's 10.
30.
18, so it's 28, and then how far is hers off? Like another 5? Yeah, probably 30, 35 feet.
About 35 feet.
That would be from the right turn in of the, so the closest lane into our development would be about 35 feet away.
Is this Mass DOT approved?
Is, not yet, no.
So they haven't taken a look at this to say whether or not they're okay with it being this close to my driveway?
Correct. First is to get approval from the planning board, and then we go to DOT.
What, if anything, has been looked at to improve the safety of my driveway, of getting in and out? Because, again, this is very, very close, and I'm going to have issues. My fear is there's going to be accidents there, or I just am not going to be able to get in and out. You guys stated last time when I was here that you expect anywhere, upwards of 300-plus people going in and out, again, 30 feet away from me.
Is that number accurate, 300 people in and out? I didn't think it was that many.
Yeah, we'd have to pull the traffic report to see that. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but that does seem rather high.
That's what was said last time.
It was said?
Yes.
By the traffic engineer or by,
I don't recall.
Okay.
It was whoever was here last time.
it just seemed a lot for a 14-unit
It does seem like a
residential
lot.
building and 7 garages in the back. You know?
It does seem like a lot, which is
Could be
why
right,
I'm...
but I mean, that's why I asked these guys.
So I think what I could add is that we have done a traffic study. We're working within the requirements that the town sets as far as where we can put our access driveways. We want to be across from Patrick Road, and there is another step where DOT will look at this and make sure that it meets their minimum requirements. And we just haven't gotten there. Typically, they don't want to see anything from us until we have a planning board approval, and then they'll start doing a technical review of it. Having said that, our traffic engineer has reviewed everything, is very comfortable with the alignment. It's consistent with the previous use that was on the site, and it's also consistent with the previous approval. So I think
Lower than the previous approval.
and right, and we have less traffic than the previous approval. So I think what DOT will eventually determine is that the configuration of the entrance and exit is at a reasonable location. And I know you're 35 feet away, but we're trying to design within the limits of what we have on the site. We're trying to balance.
And I get that. I do. I understand where you're coming from, and I can see how it's difficult for one person, for one family, right, to try and move things. But at the same time, I'm happy they're happy with it, but I'm not. It's my house. I'm going to have to go in and out of it. And it is difficult some days to get in and out, and this is going to be much more. So now I need to figure out, even though they're okay with the traffic, It is going to increase. It is going to make it difficult. I do get trapped into my driveway at times. It takes a little bit of effort to get out because people at Patrick Road, people stop, and they stop right directly in front of my driveway before they take their left. Now we're going to have people taking a right. The original place where their entrance was before made it so that it was further down. It didn't make a big issue. There weren't as many people coming out. It was one store. This is going to be mixed use, so if you're going to have people living there and you're going to have companies in there, it's going to be going in and out considerably more. So my frustration is I am for this project, believe it or not, but my frustration is that I don't think anyone's looking at my dilemma, which is how am I going to get in and out of my driveway?
So the corner that you said is 35 feet, but that's the right turn.
That's right, that's the
in-turn.
turn in.
How far is it to where they're actually coming out?
They'd be coming out another, what would that, that's going to be
12 feet.
12 feet, right, so now we're almost at 50 feet, give or take. So I don't think it would have, like, traveling south on 38, I think you'd have the same access, right, because you'd be turning in before this development, right? So that would be the same movement that you make now. So the challenge would be getting out or taking a left in, which I got to think taking a left in right now at that location is, can be challenging just with the traffic that's out there right now.
At times.
Right.
At times it is.
And so what we look at is we look at a situation where we don't change the level of service for something like this. So while there is an increase in volume at certain times of the day, it's not an increase that has a significant effect on the traffic. That's basically what they look like. With that being said, we know that 38, during a couple of times during the day, and it is very congested. But the idea is that we don't have such an impact that it make it considerably worse.
Is there, I don't know, because I'm thinking of the wrong kind of thing, because normally you see a sign that would say something like blind drive or something like that, but is there a potential signage that could be put there that would just alert those leaving, just to, a heads up of the driveway next door? You know what I mean? Because they are, reasonably close, and it's, there's a big difference between where it is and then the next drive, which is all the way down at the church, you know what I mean? So they don't have to worry about that, obviously. But I don't know if there's a type of signage that could be there that just could be just a heads up, because, you got what's going on 38, but just, one extra little turn of your head here, because there's a driveway right here next door for you to keep an eye on. I don't know, I'm not sure if there's such a,
I'm not sure either, but
You know what I
we'd
mean?
certainly
But-
be open to it, if that would help.
well, that's what I mean, I'm just trying to think what that would look like, because, obviously, it's not, there's a blind driveway, beware of blind driveway or something, that's an easy one, because you see that all over the place, but that's not so much blind as it is just, nearby. And I just don't know what the correct verbiage for something like that would be, but I don't know if something like that might help, just as a heads up. Obviously, it's Main Street. You live on Main Street. So cars are coming back and forth on Main Street, and cars are going to be coming in and out of places on Main Street. That is problematic in and of itself.
I get that, right? It's just that it's going to be the increase, which is going to be a lot closer to my driveway where it wasn't as close before. And it's going to increase, and it's going to get a little bit more difficult. And my other fear is that someone is going to try and, with it being so much closer,
And I'm
turn
not
it to my drive.
telling you guys to do this, I'm just asking it.
Yeah.
If everything were flip-flopped the other way, that's a problem? If this was just flipped on itself? And the driveway was just on the opposite sides? Everything was the same, just mirrored?
Well,
I'm not saying it's not, I'm just asking.
So we did look at that, obviously, but
That's kind of what I'm asking.
we arrived here because we thought the potential of having two 7-unit buildings overlooking existing residential 10 feet off the property line wouldn't be something that people would necessarily want either,
That's
right?
true.
So
Yeah.
this gives us
I
a little
suppose
bit
that
of
is the-
buffer.
We tried, that was the main reason to keep the the building's on the left side, is that the church is on that side? And the front part is just the offices of the church? So there's not overlooking the residences of the church.
Yeah, so
This side, I would give
just
it more.
What's that, from the, if I'm looking at it, the building on the left, the distance between the building on the left and the property line is about what? I can't see it on
I
here.
think it's 15-ish feet, right?
So if you mirrored this and flipped it on the other side,
It's 18.
that
18.
that building is about 15 feet from your side of your house. So that's a potential alternative, even if they did, and I'm not telling them to flip it, I'm just saying if this were flipped and the driveway were moved, what you'd get instead would be a 7-unit, 2-story, multifamily building almost on top of your house.
Right.
So, you know, that's, I don't know, I'm not saying which you should choose, I'm simply saying that if anyone were here to try and get them to flip it, that's what you're looking at as the alternative. Because, I mean, they're not going to drive a driveway through the middle of the two buildings. I can't imagine why that would make sense.
No.
So those are your, you know what I mean, that's kind of what we're left with.
No, the only other potential that my husband and I talked about is switching our driveway, which would make it a little bit more difficult during inclement weather, to the side of the road onto Hillcrest. We haven't looked into it. We haven't looked to see if it's permittable yet. But depending on how these conversations went, and I don't know if you guys are willing to work with us on that, with potentially moving my driveway so it doesn't, I'm not impacted.
As far as doing the actual work of moving your driveway, I would be willing to work with you guys on that. Permitting would be something that you guys would have to deal with, especially with Mass DOT, because you do have a curb cut there. So, you know, I guess.
Hillcrest, I don't think Hillcrest is part of that.
No, where your driveway is on Main Street. As far as
But
doing the actual work of
you're
getting-
suggesting closing the Main Street one and using the one on the side. Can't imagine why Mass DOT would care if you closed it.
Right.
They'd only care if you were trying to keep it and now add another one, maybe, they might care.
Yeah, well, she's talking about putting a driveway in Hillcrest. That would be something you would have to permit through the town.
Right.
The actual
trying to think of
construction of your driveway, I would be willing to help you on that, yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of solutions so I don't have to try and fight this entrance.
I'd be here to be a good neighbor also, so, you know, if it's something that we can,
That part I'll let you guys talk about, though. That's an outside of this. We're not,
something we can, I'd be willing to work with you, though.
Okay.
okay?
So just a question for you as a neighbor. Do you have a problem getting out of your driveway now?
Depends on the time of day.
Yeah?
It's not obnoxious, to be honest with you. It's not obnoxious.
Yeah, I know exactly where it is, and the only caveat is that when the red lights are working and stopping, that may be the access to get out, either way you're going.
The red lights?
The red light on Chandler and Main, right?
Yeah, if
Timing it correctly or something, but,
the red light, that light doesn't affect kind of where I am.
It's a little ways away.
yeah, but,
It really only affects, what affects my driveway getting in and out for the most part is when people stop to go onto Patrick Road and they stop in front of my driveway.
okay.
For the most part, otherwise, it's just normal sitting, trying to wait for your clearing to get out. But with more people going in right next to me and the possibility of someone going into my driveway instead of the one that's next to us, that's our concern, that we'll never get out.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to, you guys can have that other side conversation. Obviously, I expect that we're going to continue this at least one more meeting to do the last little bits and pieces of what you got, is my guess. We're not finishing this tonight. So you guys can have your conversations. You can do your initial look into what it would entail doing whatever you were thinking about doing. But that's my expectation. I mean, the rest of them might feel differently, but my guess is that, you know, there's a few outstanding things, and, you know, we just got some of the answers in tonight. My guess is we're going to probably push this at least one more meeting anyway, so, you know, you can come back one more time and talk if you want, that's fine, you know, obviously, but otherwise, if you have anything else, you can keep going. I wasn't stopping you.
No, that's my main concern, because I'm honestly, based on here, I figured everything else that you guys are doing, like all the trees that are on the side, I'm assuming you guys are taking down that are on the other side of the rocks to put up this thing, the trees that you're putting in. I'm assuming.
I'm planning on putting a privacy buffer there. That's what, those are all new plantings.
Right, so the old all the old trees that are on this side of, or your side of the retaining wall, I don't know what it's called, the rock wall, you're taking all those down?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And the reason I ask is some of them do shade us. We're just trying to kind of prep now for summer. If you guys are taking those down, we just need to figure out what we're going to do for shade in that area.
When and if we're approved and construction starts, yes, the trees will come down.
Okay.
Okay.
The only other thing I might add is that we don't have a sign package yet, but we are going to have our driveway signed fairly well. So if one of the concerns is that people are going to end up in your driveway, we'll sign it. And then 14 of the people are going to be, they're going to live there, so they're going to know their driveway. Granted, people come and go kind of thing, right? But I think it's a stable use, where as opposed to like a retailer or commercial use that people more unfamiliar with the site, you might be, I think this is a better situation.
Okay. Hey,
Thank you.
is that, all right, thank you, appreciate it. No one else being in the audience, I assume there are no further comments. Bring it back to the board. Any further comments from the board at this time?
Could I just throw one thing out, right? I know we're in this situation where we have like a half a dozen technical related items, and I know the board's position, generally speaking, they like to see everything kind of cleaned up prior to approval and whatnot. We're like a week away from May 1st, right? So the construction schedule starts to get fast, and the more time we have to start the season gives us a little bit more time at the end of the season kind of deal. So just curious if there's any appetite from the board to consider some sort of conditional approval so we can get the clock going and move the thing forward.
Well, the only problem with conditional is obviously we're not done then. So anything you're doing, you're running at a risk anyways because we're not done. Unless whatever those conditions are completed and dealt with. I don't know, I leave that to the rest of the board. I mean, it's not me that makes that decision. It's, it's everybody, so I don't know how everybody feels about that. It's up to you guys.
Can I ask ask a question, Mr. Chairman? So do you need the board's approval before you can talk to DOT?
Yeah, that's the big one that we hang
That's going to
up
be a
on.
little bit of, that's going to stretch things out a little bit. I personally don't have a problem with approving with the contingencies, so, but that's up to my fellow board members as well.
I don't have a problem. As I think you guys did a great job to get to this point, resolving most of the issues. The few outstanding is, and I understand the time constraints, and Mass DOT is not the easiest place to work with, and which is going to take months probably to get the approval from Mass DOT, if not longer. But I wouldn't have a problem, considering conditional approval myself.
Mr. Champa?
I've been very hesitant in the past, especially where you still have to appear before another board, because sometimes our conditional approval has been used to sort of verify your case before another board. But that was typically like a zoning board for going for a variance or something like that. I don't think Conservation Commission cares much what we think about the project. So they're going to protect the wetlands and do what they have to do. So in this particular case, so one thing I was going to add, so yes, I'm okay with conditional approval. Second, I was going to add, in terms of raising awareness of people that are maybe taking a left out of the driveway to keep them from using, you've got that proposed VGC curbing there, but to keep them from coming out and starting to take that left turn a little too early and maybe being on their neighbor's blind side, maybe have some kind of a rumble strip that kind of divides the mouth of the driveway so that people would realize like they're driving over something. And then if you were to have a sign that said, beware of traffic left or something like that. I know on Electric Company Road or whatever it is, there's things, trucks exiting, entering, something like that. So that might, kind of add a little emphasis to your new neighbor's concern. As far as just, she's taking a right out of her driveway. She doesn't want to be looking head on at somebody that's, peeling out of that driveway.
Right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Fuchsia?
I'm good with it, the conditions.
Okay, so, that's the view of the board, that's fine? All right, so then what is the pleasure of the board at this time?
I'll make a motion,
So
Mr. Chairman.
actually, let me just make sure we got this clear before we do this then. So we got the waivers that are requested. 3 waivers. Nobody has any issues with the waivers?
No issues.
Okay. The conditions will be that the remaining technical issues will be resolved. You guys, again, this is on you guys, because if you guys start butting heads over the technical issues, you're on your own. That the consideration for the rumble strip or whatever that divider could be at the front to help ensure that that people stay in that lane before they start making that left, and they're not half using the right turn only just because there isn't anybody there. And I'm going to ask that you look into, whatever signage might be appropriate there for alerting those exiting of the driveway just next door, so long as that driveway is there. If for some reason that driveway becomes not an issue anymore, you can remove the sign. I have no problem with that. But that's what I want to see, at least to this point. Ms. Lauder?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in my memo dated Friday, April 24th, there were a number of items that I noted may be a condition of approval, so asking to see if the board wants those to be conditions of approval. And as far as the unresolved TEC comments, there are several items that note that TEC defers to the board, so you folks will have to go through this list and give an up or down on some of these. And then further, if any further submissions are made by the applicant, are you asking them to fully resolve them with TEC, understanding that there would be no coming back to the board?
That's my understanding of any that we're not resolving here, that you got to get to a yes between yourselves. So Ms. Lauder, just highlight these for me, please, would you please?
All right, hold on a moment.
So,
Why don't we back?
So it seems like we're in a good position, but there's a little bit more work maybe that we can get done.
this might be
come back.
cleaner, because
Yeah, I think so.
I know you guys want to move along, but I worry about this because, then it starts becoming disagreements, and then it comes down to really it's us, but maybe it wasn't noted that way yet, and you guys get to a point where you're like, we can't agree, and that means it is us, and if you shut us out,
Okay.
I also rather, let us clean that stuff up. There's a few that they're deferring to you guys, give you guys an extra minute.
all right, so, all right, I think that makes more sense. So then we will look to continue this to 7:10
Or
on,
we,
oh, wait, I got the
I just
wrong
wanted to
one.
ask one more thing. All of your snow storage is along the north side of the property. How are your plows going to go down the garage driveway and plow that for the people that have to get out of the garage and walk across to the garage? Are you going to have additional snow storage by the proposed dumpster there?
Yeah, well, down the left side too, but these, this wouldn't be a plow doing a site like this. This is machines. So as far as like getting in and out of that, it wouldn't be a plow pushing, it would be a machine pulling.
Understood, okay.
Most sites like this at this point either use skid steers or mini loaders. It makes more sense, and it's a lot cleaner job, and it makes it easier to maneuver around.
I could just see, we didn't have the worst winter, but,
Oh,
you
yeah,
have a
no,
pretty
I
bad
understand,
winter,
yeah.
and your
Yeah.
dumpster there is under 4 or 5 feet of snow, and then your dump truck can't, or your trash truck can't get in there to pick it up, but.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I'm all set.
You guys, anything else for us?
No.
All right, well, I'm glad we resolved that, because I think that's ultimately, I just think that's better for everybody. I just feel it's a lot easier in the end, so. All right, so then I will take a motion to continue this till 7:10 on 5/11.
So moved.
A motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, good
Thank you,
luck.
see you guys next time. Thank you. That's it. Goes on top.
Feel like a motion to adjourn.
Yes, I'm sorry, we didn't get that far. I hesitated. I got to do correspondence, which we had none. Other business not known at the time of the posting of this agenda, anyone?
All set, Mr.
Nope.
Chairman.
All right, now I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
A motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, good night.